No G with a Z, P-O-D. Better late than never. It's the Smoking Guns podcast. We're late by a day and we're late by about 15 minutes. If you're checking in with us live on YouTube or Facebook or on the Fuel Network, we're running a little behind, but that's okay. We got a lot to cover, a lot to talk about. We are the Smoking Guns podcast. We're a podcast that deals with professional football in San Antonio. That includes the San Antonio Brahmas of the United Football League, along with the San Antonio Gunslingers of the Indoor Football League, both in action this week. Lots to talk about when it comes down to that. I am Philip Higginbotham. I'm one of your hosts for this next couple of hours. I'm joined, as always, by my good friends and people a lot smarter than me and people that can show up on time. Leo Yamas.
What's up, Smoking Guns posse?
And R.C. Woods.
Hello, beautiful people.
Well, wow, we got started. Everything got started, and surprising results all the way around. That's the name of the episode, and I don't think there's a more apt title for this week's episode than surprising results. I think I was surprised beginning to end by this week. Nothing this week has gone the way I expected it to go, most definitely on the football field. And we're going to talk about all of that. The San Antonio Brahmas look really, really good. 27-12. Take down the DC Defenders. The next night, last night, Monday night, the San Antonio Gunslingers go into San Diego, battle with the Strike Force, and walk away with a look. It's 69-61, but for the rest of the episode, if I say they allowed 63 points, there's a reason for that. Because there's 6 points at the end of that game that were just desperation, crazy, so they allowed 63 points. The graphics, the records will always say 69-61. It was really a 63-61 victory. Lots to talk about there too, but I want to start with the Brahmas because that's what started our week off. That's what's starting this week off as we get into things. And I really want to start where we always like to start with our with RC's favorite part of the game, the pregame, the tailgate, the gathering together before we go into Alamo Dome and watch our Brahmas. How did the tailgate go? How did it work out? I know there were concerns about parking and tailgating and all of that. How did it work?
Parking was $30, $10 higher than last year.
Come on, Alamo Dome.
Jackie
Do us a
Martinez
favor here.
Went ahead and made a map, kind of designing where we're going to be at. And I will say it was the most cohesive tailgating. It really was. I was surprised about the numbers. There was quite a few super fans. So for sure, there was the BWO group. Right next to us was the Bullpen podcast. We had Brahma Babe, Horns Forward podcast. We had Rick Bella. He's the masked man. We had Vanessa Dawson looking beautiful as ever. We had the new super fan, Jen Lopez, as the Brahma Dama from the Loteria.
I saw some pictures of her on Facebook.
That was great. We had Captain Brahma. We had Enoch Flo from St. Louis. We had Andres Gonzalez and his beautiful wife, Sandy. We definitely had the main help, my ride and die, Desiree Rodriguez. We could have not have been so cohesive and organized if it wasn't for her. We had Stephen Canto, Warren and his wife Cecilia. We had Elizabeth and Josh Clayton. It was just amazing. We all got there early. There was food, there was pancakes, breakfast, tacos, bacon. I brought donuts. Everybody
making me hungry.
Sharing. Everybody was having a great time. We had a photo booth. We had music. It was just the best time ever. Now, it was a little chilly for me. I'm always cold, right? And it was a little drizzly, but it kind of reminded me of that first Commanders game, but just not as cold. Remember that first game when it was raining and cold?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do remember
that. It wasn't that bad, but it was good. The only concern or question, and maybe somebody out there may know, we only had 2 hours to tailgate, right? And I'm assuming it was because of the 11 o'clock start. Now, someone or rumor has it that tailgate from now on is only going to be 2 hours. Does anyone know the answer to that? If you do, tell it, because I need to know.
That is a question I would like to know as well. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I don't know. It hasn't been clarified if that 2-hour tailgate limit was just for this game because it was an early morning game on Easter, or if that's going to be the time allotment moving forward. I hope not, but
it seemed a little rushed. Like we really couldn't cook. I mean, people still made their bacon, still made the breakfast tacos. It was delicious, right? However, it just felt rushed. We wanted to do a bunny hop. That started a little bit late. I wanted to get into the stadium around 10. And so that's when the bunny hop started. It was supposed to be at 9:30. We were able to gather and do a group picture, which I love that idea. The biggest thing I saw was that there was unity. There was a lot of good times, everybody sharing. It really had a wonderful, positive vibe, and I loved it. And I will say I collected, drum roll please, 42 cans. 42 cans. Now, can we do better? Yes. Is it a good start? Yes. So from 42 cans, we can only go up. So thank you to everyone who brought cans. There was raviolis, there was corn, there was green beans. I mean, you name it. There was a plethora of different cans, which I know the food bank is going to be, we're going to help them out.
A plethora?
Plethora.
Would you say we had a plethora?
We did have a plethora. I was worried. I was worried,
RC.
One, about the attendance in tailgating. When I first started showing my cans, and that didn't sound right, but the first one, I only had like about 10 cans.
Let me ask you.
To get 42 within like an hour and a half, yes, I am going to say plethora. Can we do gigantic amounts more? Absolutely. But I'm going to go with that. I'm thanking everybody.
What is a plethora?
A lot. It's more than one, more than 10.
Don Phillip, could it be once again?
I know, Phillip, you want more. I know you want more.
Oh,
no,
I'm thankful for everyone who participated. And the other thing that we did was we had like a welcome basket, and we were kind of looking for the DC Defender fans to be there. We never kind of found them in the beginning. However, at the end, Desiree, my ride or die, she found some fans and she was able to give them the welcome basket. So in that welcome basket, I had purchased a little HEB bag, the reusable ones that had a real pretty like blue bonnet and a Texas state. There was 4 plates in there that said "Howdy y'all" with blue bonnets, and it also had a tumbler with the straw. And then we put in some of the Brahmas Fiesta pins. We also put some cascarones in there. So whoever got that, they seemed very grateful. And we want to continue that. We really want to show that spirit of unity. Again, we're only going to succeed as a league if we all work together. And so we were able to do that. So if you ask me, we had a wonderful time, a wonderful experience, and I'm super excited for next tailgate.
That was very cool, RC. I did see Desiree post a video of her giving the gift bag to those visiting DC fans, and they were really good sports about it because this was after their team had, lost pretty convincingly on the field, and they were good sports about receiving that, and that was great of you guys to do that.
So that's my takeaway. I'm definitely going to really push that welcome basket and really try harder to look for more of the fans.
Well, Leo, what did you eat? Because I know you, and I know at a tailgate you find the food. You and I try to find the food, and I wasn't there, so you had to do it for me. What kind of food did you find? Was there good food?
I was a disappointment. I'm sorry this time around. I did not make it to the tailgate. I was riding solo this time. Yeah, Lily's had to work, unfortunately.
Wah, 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 and we miss her.
My other friends and family had obligations because of the Easter. And yes, we did miss Lily's. I miss Lily's very much at the football games. Didn't have my my companion there, my fellow football fan that's always at my side. So that was a little bit of a bummer, and I did not make it to the tailgate. I kind of got there right around 10 o'clock. Walked right straight into the dome with the intention of going to the merch. So I do have something to add on that. Went to the merch line. There was one outside, which had a really long line. I was like, I think I'm going to go inside and see what that looks like. So I go inside, find a merch table. They didn't have one in one of the corners that they did last season. So it seemed like instead of having one on each corner of the dome around that main, corridor, it was only maybe two of the corners. So I walked around, went to the next corner and found a merch booth there. Pretty long line, but didn't seem as long as the one outside. However, I was in that line for 40 minutes. The reason why I stood in that line was because I wanted to buy a jersey. The concourse, yes, missions highlighter says the name of the corridor that goes around there, that main concourse. So I was in line for 40 minutes and I wanted to get a jersey. And if you go look at the UFL shop online, Brahmas jerseys are not available. I don't know if any of the former XFL teams' jerseys are available or not. I can tell you the Brahmas are not on the UFL shop. They did have them at the game, and they are new this year. They're not the same as the ones last year that we had so many people complain about. They're slightly better.
What is the price tag on those things?
125, where last year I think they were more. I think they were 180 or something like that last year. The numbers are a lot bigger. They take up the full front of the jersey as they should, not like this tiny little square like the ones from last year. They are sublimated numbers, but the San Antonio Gunslingers part and then the UFL patch, because it is a UFL patch on here, those are stitched. Then it has the yellow stripe on the jersey sleeves. Wow, great Black Friday sale, $88. Missions Highlighter says got his, yeah, for sure. I paid $125. I waited in that line because I said I don't know when I'm going to be able to get, especially in a big boy size, on the website, and they had 1 3X left, and the guy didn't even think that they had one. He said, "I think we sold the only one we had." So I felt lucky on that.
I was noting during the game that I saw a lot of the players and sideline personnel wearing some of the new gear. I like the new hats, at least the look of them, with the Brahma outlined in white. You can see the hat I'm wearing from last year, which was one of the, I don't know, it's okay. It's not great. It's probably not worth what I paid for it back in those days. But the highlighter yellow bothers me. It's not really the color. I've got the other one, my trucker cap up here, but I'm liking the look of the new gear, and I know it's taking them some time to roll that out. But what else did you see at the merch table? You got your jersey, but what else?
T-shirts.
Was there? Anything else?
I got this T-shirt. This is the one that has the schedule on the back. So they had that, and that I don't believe is on the website. It might be. And then some of the shirts that I saw on the website are there. Sweaters and hoodies, which seem kind of odd to be selling those in April in South Texas, but they're there and available if that's what you want. They did have lanyards. Yes, there were some lanyards there.
Get a hold of one of those lanyards. Yeah,
there were pendants. If you kind of if I can point the right direction, but it's right over my shoulder, right there.
Yes.
I got a Brahmas pendant that I've had hanging in the back there. There's also a UFL pendant that had like the logos for all the teams. No helmets. They did have some footballs. They had like a commemorative football, like the first UFL game in San Antonio or something. It was a football that had the DC Defenders and the Brahmas logo on it.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I forgot to check and see what the price on that was, but they did have that there. Yes, that is my favorite Brahmas logo, the B logo with the horn coming off of it. I do like that logo a lot, so I was happy to pick up that pendant. Shorts, they had like some sweat shorts that you could wear that had Brahmas on them. And the typical t-shirts you saw, and they did have some caps. I also ended up getting a trucker cap that was a kind of a flat brim.
Got it.
But this is the interesting part right there.
Still says XFL on it. Yeah.
Still says XFL, which that is the name of a division.
We're in the XFL conference, so it's all good. It's all okay. Yep. I've noticed that the t-shirts that they have online still have XFL branding down in the corner of them. So as we wrap up pregame talk, I know this isn't pregame, it's actually in-game, but it's outside of the X's and O's, the on-the-field stuff. Let's talk a little bit about attendance. We were the second of the four venues. We were second. Arlington with that big matchup, Birmingham and Arlington, the two champions, the highlight showcase game of the UFL, 14,153. We come in just a tick below that on Easter Sunday at 11 a.m. with 13,164. And I got to tell you, if you're upset with that number, if you feel like, man, we should do better, get out of here. That's as good as you could have hoped for. That's better than you could have hoped for.
And I will say those 4 free tickets for the season ticket holders really helped. So it was myself, it was Jerry, it was Francesca, it was Noah, my godson, it was his mom, it was her friend Sean, it was my friend Jamie, and it was her friend Julie. 8 people were there, and it was only going to be like 2 of us. And so that really was an incentive to bring more people into the game.
And they did that across the league. So it wasn't just something here in San Antonio that they were using to boost numbers. They did that everywhere. Even in Houston, Houston had a low number.
Yeah.
Houston came in last in attendance.
Wow.
And I think that was great with the 4 tickets. I agree with RC. I will say, though, being an Easter holiday, it was difficult to get people to take those tickets even for free. Like, I had to ask a number of people before I had some takers. I wanted to introduce new people to the brand, that hadn't been to a game before. So maybe that had something to do with it. I wasn't looking for someone that had, was aware of the Brahmas or, had followed the Brahmas or been to games before. So that was kind of my target audience for those 4 tickets that I got as a season ticket holder. And was it finally able to get someone that wanted to go, and they had a great time. And the fact that they won and they did so well, they won convincingly. I think that's going to help attendance a lot too, because of the fickle fan base we've talked about we have here in San Antonio. They like winners.
Jay Washington says that means 13,000 should be the lowest attendance for the season based on the field product. And I want to talk a little bit about the product throughout the league when we get into the next segment. This seemed right. This seemed to finally be everything it needed to be. I could nitpick little things here and there, but on a whole, the product was better. Certainly for the San Antonio Brahmas fans, the product was better. I would not be surprised at all if that number climbs steadily throughout the season. Would it be great to start off with 30,000 right out of the gate? Sure.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to do that? But we didn't. We started with 13,000, and now we get to work our way up from there.
You mean like a plethora of people coming to the games?
A plethora. We would need a plethora of people. Just to round out those numbers, Michigan 9,400, Houston 91, almost 9,200 folks showing up for those 2 games. Man, it is what it is. This is a TV product. We've talked about that before. It's Easter Sunday, Easter weekend, lots of stuff going on right here in the middle of March Madness, which is something that I think flies under our radar a little bit, but it is something that sports fans are paying attention to. It is tournament time, and so you're going to lose a certain amount of sports fans to that. Overall, I think attendance around the league was good. You didn't see any 4,000 or 6,000 games.
True.
Those look bad.
Right.
Those look rough. We had the
compared to the numbers that the USFL used to get. We had a good number.
Well, that's not fair. The USFL did that weird health thing.
I'm just saying.
They had 5 people in the stadium for some games.
It's true.
That's not fair. It was a well-attended game based on what I could see at home. It looked like there was a solid crowd there. It sounded like a good crowd. There were times that I think the crowd actually hurt the DC Defenders when they were coming up to the line. There were a few false starts and some of that kind of stuff. Mission highlighter, as hard as it is to win, winning will solve the attendance issues, I believe. I think you're right.
Yep.
A winning product, a good product will get folks in.
Most definitely.
That is the pregame and attendance. We're going to take a quick break. When we get right back here in just a second, we're going to start talking about on the field, and there's so much to talk about, so many cool moments in this first game against the DC Defenders. Stick with us. We're not going away long, but we're going to go back. We're going to go away for just a second, and we'll be right back. I told you we'd be right back.
Hey, here we are.
Part of our new setup with Fuel Network, we are layering in some breaks so that if commercials ever get added to our programming as a way to raise money for that network or maybe even our show, they will have the opportunity and the breaks to do that. We're not going to take a full commercial break, and we're not going to toss commercials at you, but we do need to break things up a little bit and give you a moment. This is Smoking Guns Podcast. I'm Philip Higginbotham. That's Leo Yamas. That's RC Woods. And we're talking about the Brahmas win 27-12. Yes, 27-12. That sounds right.
Yep.
27-12 over the DC Defenders. And I got to tell you, Leo, as excited as I want to be about the Brahmas just kind of whipping DC, I have to pump the brakes a little bit and say, what did I learn? What did I learn on Sunday? Are the Brahmas as good as they looked, or is DC way more depleted in talent than they were last year?
Well, it could be a little bit of both, can it? I mean, I will definitely concur to anybody that says DC is not the team that they wore last season. You know, they're a little depleted. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. But I would also agree with anybody that says the San Antonio Brahmas are a much better team at the start of this season than they were at the start of even at the end of last season. The San Antonio Brahmas, particularly on offense, are looking a lot better, a lot more promising. I mean, you could see the talent that was there. You could see Chase Garber's his talent, his arm talent. You could see that he had time to go through his progressions. Sometimes he didn't, but when he didn't, you saw that he had the ability to scramble and extend the play. And what I really like, I might be getting ahead of ourselves here, but one thing I really like about what I saw from Chase Garbers was that when he's running, and you know the protection has broken down a little bit and he's scrambling, he's still looking down the field. He's not tuck the ball and okay, I'm the protection is broken down, so now he's in run mode. He's still looking for his receivers down the field to make a play down the field with his arm. And I really like that about that shows a really good quarterback with that has talent and experience.
He definitely showed confidence, and that's what I saw, that he didn't look scared or anything like that. He showed like he had a lot of confidence.
I saw a first half from the San Antonio Brahmas that was as good as any starting half of any football team I think I have ever seen. Like
fair. Yeah.
When you walk out onto the field for the first half of any season, there are butterflies, there are issues. We didn't have any of that. We just got in and got to work right from the start. AJ Smith's offense just moves the ball down the field, and scores. And then from that point on, now we got into the second half, and I saw some things. I think Reggie Barlow is a really, really good football coach because I saw Reggie Barlow make some adjustments and kind of stifle the Brahmas for a little bit. In fact, I started to get a little nervous and go, is this going to be last year all over again where we dominate through most of this game and then DC just finds a way to worm back in and right at the end we lose it? That's how we started the season last year. And I was like, are we going to see this happen again? But the Brahmas in the fourth quarter take control and just kind of, do what you have to do. You have to kind of put your foot on the throat and push. And they did that. They ended whatever chance DC had, whatever chance DC was kind of building some momentum there through the third quarter. San Antonio put the kibosh on that. I love the big man touchdown. I don't know how much you guys were able to hear. Leo, have you gone back and watched the broadcast?
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that you pick up on the broadcast that you guys in the stadium may not have known is there was no plan for that ball to go to that guy.
Oh, no, yeah. No. He was like the third option.
Spontaneous.
He was a decoy. He was told he's a decoy. You're just going to run out there and be a decoy. And sure enough, Brad Wing sees him standing out there all alone and says, well, I think I can get the ball to that guy. I don't know who that is. I think I can get the ball over there. And so he wings the ball out there. Wing. His name's Brad.
I got it.
Brad Wing.
I like it.
So he wings the ball out there in the center of all. What a great moment for him.
That punter has a pretty decent wing.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he does. Just a spectacular, a fun play. Almost on level with the Washington sack in the very first Commanders game. Just kind of a neat moment to hang your hat on that first game. What do you got, RC?
I was just going to say that I actually made contact with Alex Millet's mom, and we're going to be having a mom-to-mom interview real soon, like even hopefully sometime this week. And cool. I reached out to her to see if maybe she knew Brad's mom. So I thought those were two moms that would be great to have an interview. So for sure this week or early next week, we will be having a mom-to-mom interview with Alex's mom. So I'm super excited about that.
Kirkland, everything that was advertised, he is that. He is everything I expected him to be.
John Trey was,
just spectacular.
Electrifying. I mean,
yes.
Yeah, from his very first reception in the first quarter. And then also there was a touchdown that was taken away by offsetting penalty. So it was just kind of a down over, but I believe that was like a 36-yard bomb that showed Chase Garber's arm talent because he hit him in stride from the other side of the field, talking about from hash to hash. He's on the other side and throwing across the field 36 yards to the corner, just around the 4-yard line, hit him in stride as he ran into the end zone. A shame that there was offsetting penalties on that. I believe we had illegal hands to the face on the Brahmas, and I don't remember what the penalty on DC was. Might have been offsides or I think it was offsides, something like that. And there was offsetting, and they had to just replay the down. But really showed off that connection there. I'm excited to see that connection between Chase Garbers and John Trey Kirkland and all the receivers. But Kirkland really shown this game as Garbers did. I think the Brahmas have themselves quite a quarterback this season. I say this season because with his talent, he may not be in the UFL, past that. But
right, for sure.
Yeah,
well, you know that saying, like running your butt off. Now we can say running your shoe off, thanks to Anthony McFarland.
That's another guy. Yeah.
I was supremely impressed by Anthony McFarland. I walked away like I knew what I was going to get from John Trey Kirkland. I know what kind of guy he is. I had high hopes for Chase Garbers. We saw Cody Latimer get involved. We saw the guys on defense, Scott and those guys get involved. But McFarland is the one that really, I won't say surprised me, But I came out of that game going, we got something here that I didn't even realize. The amount of talent he has. Very impressed with Anthony McFarland Jr.
Well, John Lovett is the bigger back.
Yes.
He's supposed to be more of the thunder to Anthony McFarland's lightning, but Anthony McFarland runs hard. And he's a downhill runner. Like he'll cut and make some moves, but once he gets ahead of steam, like he's running downhill and he's running hard. I heard Jerry, who was sitting right in front of me, like he was like thinking to back to Marshawn Lynch type running, right back to the Skittles, is making some comparisons with the running style there. And he's not a big dude. Anthony McFarland, I think it was like 5'9", something like that. I think is where
he's 5'8", 193, according to what I'm looking at right now about him.
Doesn't play like it. Yeah.
No, he sure doesn't.
Yeah, he averaged over 5 yards a carry in this game.
Jerry did say that quite a few times, that he reminded him of Lynch. So,
yeah, hard physical runner.
Now we have to recognize, and we alluded to this earlier, but we have to recognize this is one game, and we don't know where anything lines up in this league. So DC is without 3 of its receivers from last year. There is no Abram Smith, and everything on that offense was kind of predicated on who Abram Smith was last year.
Yes.
So they beat DC. They beat DC, kind of going away. They dominated DC, but does that mean the Brahmas are really good, or DC is really depleted, or does it, like you say, mean a little bit of all of that? Probably more that than anything.
I think it's a little bit of both, like I said, but you know what? I don't care. I don't care because for the simple fact that we saw an offense be aggressive and throwing down the field and being creative. The offensive mind of AJ Smith.
I love AJ Smith.
Yes.
AJ Smith for president. I love AJ Smith.
Yeah. So I don't care. You can only play the team that's in front of you. And if they're a bad team, they're a bad team. So, I mean, I don't care.
As much as we didn't say last year, we griped about it internally. We tried to keep it on the down low. I hated the offense last year. I just absolutely hated the scheme, the plan, the whole thing. Not the guys. The guys were doing what they could do with the offense that they had. The offensive line was not very good, so it didn't. But Jaime Elizondo's offense, I did not like. Just didn't. And I feel all last year I would watch Houston Roughnecks games. Because I live close to Houston, I actually got to go to a couple of those games, and I would watch those and be like, I wish we ran an offense more like what AJ Smith is out there running. Sure enough, now we have AJ Smith, and we're running that offense. I like it. I like it a lot.
The team looked cohesive. They worked well together.
Dick Six says we scored more than one touchdown. We got the win at home. I'll take it. Yes, absolutely.
We'll take it. Horns forward.
And not only got the win at home, but we are leading the XFL Division Conference at this point. For whatever that means, we're in charge right now. We've got the inside track to this playoff position.
That's because Arlington lost, and then who else lost?
Arlington
lost. And Battlehawks.
St. Louis lost.
St. Louis lost in last second kick. Amazing kick, by the way.
The 64-yard. Yeah.
Twice. Dude kicked it twice because he got iced. And that's two instances in the first week where a team iced the kicker and ended up paying for it in the next play. That says he just hit a 64-yarder again, and then got a call from the Lions, as I understand. And then in our game here in San Antonio, the Brahmas got iced on the kick. That was originally a field goal that was kicked, like a 59-yarder or something like that, and then they called timeout as we were snapping the ball, and then that's when we had the great what we touched on with Brad Wing to Alex Millette. Something. Go ahead, Philip, and I'll add something to that.
I love the thought process of no. Let's just go ahead and kick for 3 points. And you go out there and you line everything up, and Donald De La Haye is getting ready to kick this ball.
Yes.
And DC decides they're going to outsmart everybody, and they're going to call a timeout. And so Wade just goes, okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's really throw him for a loop here. Like, we were just going to kick the ball. But now that you've given me time to think about it, it is kind of a long kick, and maybe we'll surprise you. I loved.
Yes.
I am often one of those guys that is not the biggest Wade Phillips fan.
We know that.
I liked the game plan. I loved the game plan. In fact, I am not the only one that recognized that the game plan, specifically the offensive game plan, was really, really good. I was shocked to see a grizzled old jerk of a football coach in Greg Williams get on the microphone on the sideline and heap praise mid-game on AJ Smith's game plan and say, they were ready for us. They did exactly what they needed to do to my defense, and we're trying right now to catch up. That's basically what he said, and I never thought you would hear something like that from Greg Williams. Nope. Greg Williams is an old school football coach. He is one of those guys that just is tough and mean and a jerk. And for him to come out and say, they got me. They planned for exactly what I wanted to do, and they are beating me right now, and I'm trying to catch up. I was impressed. Greg Williams was impressed.
We looked good. The Brahmas looked good.
For sure. Speaking of, so looking good, I thought it was pretty clever of these players. Brad Wing and Alex Millett, you know, they wore in talking about interviewing, they wore in the press conference post-game, and they brought them in to talk about that play. And they asked him, had we practiced that? You had to practice that play. And that's what they talked about. And they talked about that Alex Millett was actually the third receiving option in that progression, which they've never done, even attempted in practice. But he was wide open. So Brad throws it to, so the reporter proceeds to ask, well, who's the first option? Who was the guy that you intended to throw it to? And both guys kind of looked at each other, and Millett kind of looked at Brad Wing, and Wing's like, yeah, I don't know if we should say that, because this is a play that we're going to run again. This is a play that we practice, and you know, we don't want to show our hand. So, you know, this didn't go as planned. We'll say that much, but I think we'll leave it at that. But then Coach Wade Phillips comes out, and they touched on the subject again, and he spilled the tea. He spilled the beans right there and said, yeah, we're supposed to go to the tight end on that, who was running a cross route coming across, but it was covered. So, you know, he wanted to give credit to a punter. He's like, when your punter's throwing to his third option on a pass play, that's not something that's very common. And he kind of laughed about it, chuckled about it. But then I was thinking, you just did, Wade Phillips. You just did what your players were smart enough to not do.
Right.
I thought that was hilarious. He just didn't care.
Well, and let's be honest, there is another really athletic guy that all of a sudden winds up as a receiver running a receiver route in Donald De La Haye. This guy is an athletic guy. We have been watching him on YouTube for years. He can kick, and that's how he got here. But he has some athleticism too. So I wouldn't be surprised if they find a way to get the ball into his hand on something, different like that, on something kind of strange like that when he's on the field to kick. He did not get a chance to kick any field goals, but I think he's a big story, and I think we should talk about him. Very impressed with the kickoffs.
The kickoffs,
kickoffs are getting where they need to get. It was a big reason that they kept him on, from what I heard. The decision kind of came down to kickoffs. Both of them were doing about the same, kicking through the uprights on field goals. So it kind of came down to kickoffs, and they felt like he had a little more leg than Amendola. And that's kind of why they decided. I was impressed on the kickoffs. I think it's very funny. I don't think we've got to have this discussion yet on the show, but I think it's very funny that the UFL came out and chose the kickoff style that they chose between the two different rule sets that they had last year, because the kickoff in the XFL did not look like real football, only to have the NFL go, no, that's exactly what we want kickoffs to look like. We're going to do that next year. And so now the UFL is the odd man out.
Yep. Cue Alanis Morissette with the "Isn't It Ironic" song right there.
Isn't it ironic? Incredible game. Great way to start off the season. Let's do this. Let's take let's throw up our graphic. We'll be right back. We're not going anywhere. We're going to pop back in just a second. And we're going to talk about what's next for the Brahmas and what we expect to see. Stick with us. Smoking Guns Podcast. We'll be right back right after this. Smoking Guns Podcast, Philip Higginbotham, Leo Yamas, RC Woods. Told you we'd be right back. I'm glad you didn't go anywhere. So they're 1-0. That's always important. It's always important to win your first game, certainly a first home game. Now they go on the road. They head over to Memphis. Memphis will get its home opener against our San Antonio Brahmas. And I'm feeling a lot better this week about saying, hey, I think we got a chance of winning it. You don't know. Before the season starts, you just don't know. You don't know what you're dealing with.
And I think that Memphis Showboats and Houston Roughnecks game didn't tell you a whole lot either. Didn't tell you a whole lot either just from watching that, like what to expect. It's still early in the season, but we don't know. But what we do know is that the Brahmas are going to have an aggressive offense out there and a good defense. I mean, they played really well this first game. You know, say what you will about the DC Defenders and not having, you know, their MVP from last year and, you know, their game plan obviously having to change. But, you know, what's the quarterback's name? Just escaped my head. Yeah, Jordan Teamu. He had a bit of a rough night. He had to come out for taking a hard hit. He threw for a decent amount of yards, but the only touchdown he had got taken away by a dumb penalty. So, and a great challenge. So that's something on these rules that we talked about the UFL. That's
and we did have one ejection during that game too.
Yep, same guy.
Same guy. He took away they took away both touchdowns on penalties that they got, and then got ejected. I was, for some reason, I see on my Facebook DC Defender fan groups, none of the other UFL teams, but DC Defender fans for some reason fan groups pop up on my Facebook, and they were hot. They were ready for that guy's blood. He cost them that touchdown where he was the offensive lineman downfield, illegally downfield. And then I love the use of the challenge in the fourth quarter by Wade. What a smart coaching decision to hold on to it until the fourth quarter. Use it when on a play that just made everything matter.
14-point swing.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it takes away their touchdown. We get the pick on the next play with the long return, and then we end up scoring. So that's a 14-point swing right there. And something else that Wade Phillips said that I thought was interesting was that super challenge was a Bill Belichick idea that he's been pushing in the NFL. He said that in the post game conference, which I thought was really interesting. But yeah, I like that.
Dean Blandino, you and I better never meet in person. I got words for you. It seemed like it's not his fault. It's the way the rule book is written. But it sure seemed like everything up until that point, that moment when we challenged and all that, it seemed like everything that could break for DC through Dean Blandino did. And if it was for the Brahmas, it just, that's not the way the rule's written. That's not the way it works. It was very frustrating from home to watch it and see how that was progressing. But it all came back around with that super challenge. Wade did a great job hanging on to it because there were other times that I think he could have thrown it, but it would not have been near as impactful on the game as that moment was. And he waited for that moment and he got it.
Now, when you were at home, Philip, were you able to see the national anthem and the halftime? Because they were both amazing.
No, I didn't see either of those.
Oh, Mateo, isn't it Mateo's the one who sang?
Yes,
He did
from
an
last
amazing
year.
job.
He did
And then we had the ballet folklorico with some music, some Spanish. It brought a tear to my eye, bringing back memories of singing El Rey with my parents. So they really improved the halftime performance. I will say that entertainment.
Definitely was good, and that's more to look forward to in the coming weeks. You know, the coming games. Going to be interesting to see what the Brahmas do on the road, though, in their first road game. And I see some rumors about a watch party that's starting to circulate online. So definitely
I
have
wish we
to
had more information
stay in tune for
from
that.
the
I think
team.
it's newly developing, but yeah, I really would like to. I really want to see what the Brahmas are going to look like against Memphis and a USFL team next week. We'll get to see in short order.
Yeah, so now we move on to Memphis. We can take DC and we can box it up and go, that was a really cool win. That was very exciting. Now we move on to Memphis. And we have to go up against our very first USFL opponent in the Memphis Showboats. I have great news
You
for
do?
San Antonio Brahmas. Great news. I have great news for San Antonio Brahmas fans. The DC Defenders had a total of 253 yards against the Brahmas defense. Only two teams were worse on the weekend than the DC Defenders. The Memphis Showboats and the Houston Roughnecks. Both less yards on offense than we allowed DC. So we are going up against a team that while they won their game, they only scored 18 points. They only put 228 yards of offense on the field, and they did not see our defense. They saw a Houston defense, which, frankly, Houston all the way around just looked flat. They just didn't show me anything anywhere. I didn't watch the whole game. The inside baseball thing that most of you know, but I haven't mentioned yet on the show, and I'm going to take an opportunity, is my grandson came on Friday. So I got to watch all of the Brahmas game and all of the Gunslingers game, but I got to see bits and pieces of games around the league in both the IFL and UFL. Not a whole game of any of those. But the parts I watched of that Houston, thanks. The parts of the game I watched of that Houston Memphis game, Houston just looked flat, offensively, defensively. I just didn't see a lot that excited me about Houston. And Memphis still only managed 228 yards there and 18 points. I've got to imagine that the San Antonio defense is going to do better than that Houston defense against Memphis.
Well, I know a lot of the people predicted that us in the lower end of where we're going to be. The fact that week one, I know it's week one, we're in first place, which is good. Do you think there's going to be a target on our back now?
Well, I think we're not going to surprise anybody after watching that first game as far as what to expect offensively overall. Like, we're still going to surprise them with teams because AJ Smith is just that creative. We're still going to surprise them with certain plays, but they're going to know to expect a Brahmas team that is dangerous offensively, which I don't know that was the case going into the season, which is why the Brahmas were underdogs at home against the DC Defenders to begin with. But on the subject of the Showboats and their quarterback, Case Cook, I think we're going to learn a lot of what's that?
I'm going to call them the tugboats. I saw that
tugboats.
on Facebook earlier today.
Yeah, the tugboats. Great. Yeah.
Tugboats. I love it.
I like that.
Oh, I do like that. Yeah. So, Case Cook has a reputation, from in the USFL. He's had some success. And apparently the tugboats wide receiving core is supposed to be pretty good. Now, I don't think we saw a whole lot of that against the Roughnecks. But like you said, there's always time that it takes to just kind of gel as an offense. Offense is typically always behind the defense as far as the early season. So we may see more from that a little bit, but on the UFL website, they have a MVP power rankings. And there's an article written there, and Cookus is third behind Chase Garbers in that weekly poll run by the RJ Young, who writes that article from Fox Sports. Number one, very curiously, is Matt Corral from Birmingham, which they did win the game, but I mean, he was 12 of 21, 57% passing, 201 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and a pick. The pick is the big thing for me. Lower pass percentage, and he gets a pick, but yet he's ahead of Chase Garbers, who was 76% passing, 19 of 25, 164 yards, 3 total touchdowns, 2 through the air, and 1 running on the ground. And somehow he's second fiddle right now to Matt Corral.
Doesn't even make sense. Number
MVP.
wise, doesn't even make sense.
Okay. Whatever. But according to him, Case Cookus is third, and his reasoning on that is because of his prior stint in the USFL, his experience, and the wide receiving core that he has. So this game may be a good test for that Brahmas defense and their secondary.
All of that being said, I will tell you that the team that led the league in time of possession was the Memphis Showboats, and they were second to last in yards offensively. They held the ball longer than anybody in the league. They could only manage 228 yards.
That's interesting.
That says something to me, and it is not efficient. It's not efficiency. It is not the efficiency of your offense, in my opinion.
Yeah, those two stats don't kind of normally go hand in hand, do they? That's curious.
Yeah.
What do they do with the ball all that time?
Time of possession for your Brahmas, 27-30. That puts them as 5th in the league with time of possession, but they scored the most points in the league, tied with Birmingham for the most points in the league at 27 with that 5th place time of possession. That's a little harder to say, oh, well, they didn't possess the ball very long. They possessed it as long as they needed to score 27 points. So I'm not worried about that. But to hold the ball longer and have the second to last yards says something to me. And it is not that your offense is efficient or that your quarterback is an MVP yet. He might be. Like, I don't know. It's 1 week. I don't know what we're going to see.
It's early.
But at this point, I couldn't look at it and say, Cookus is the guy. He is right there at being the guy. Sounds like this article was written based on a lot of what we know about this guy from last year. Well, what we know about Jordan Teamu from last year sure didn't matter.
Nope.
So I don't know what that means. The game is on, he said without having it pulled up. The game will be shown on ESPN. Hey, UFL, if you're listening, I need you to fix something for me. I can see the ESPN games replays very easily, very quickly. I can get to those very, very easily through ESPN Plus. I have to dig and search and look very hard to find the replays of the Fox Sports games. Can you talk to your buddies over at Fox Sports and say, hey, we're playing football in America. People want to see that. Can you make it easier to find the replays of these games that you broadcast on Fox Sports or on Fox for us? Because you can find them. They're there, but you really have to dig for them. I found the ESPN games today, no problem.
So share how you found the Fox ones. Can you share how you found the Fox ones for those of us?
Went into the apps, the Fox Sports app or the webpage. You have to go to game replays. You have to, search down to game replays. You have to hit full game replays. And then you have to cycle down to find those 2 games. They're together, but they're about 8 or 9 other games, probably more than that at this point, because this was this morning when I was looking at it. it's just a little difficult to find. There needs to be a mechanism to find these games quicker. To me, this is something, if it's that quick and that easy to find it on ESPN, and to be fair, the reason it's easy to find on ESPN is because ESPN has a button that says UFL that I can click and boom, I got the games right there. My preference would be that you just do all the rebroadcasts over on ESPN Plus, but I know you're not going to do that because of broadcasting issues and all that kind of stuff. But make them easier to find for me, please. I want to rewatch these games. I have all of the necessary TV subscriptions and stuff to watch the games. Make it easier for me to find those, please.
How about this, and make it real easy and put links to the broadcast on the UFL website? That would be helpful.
That'd be great.
That's an
If
idea.
I can just click on it, shoot over to what I want to watch, and then sign into my DirecTV stream or whatever I need to sign into, my ESPN Plus, and be able to watch the game. Genius. We're solving problems here, UFL. We're solving problems for you.
Just in case they're listening.
I'm glad you bring this up, because I know there was a comment from servicemen overseas who were asking how they could watch some of these games. So I think they really need to show that or give some examples, because other people are interested in watching the games, not just people here in the U.S. So we have a lot of servicemen, a lot of who still have ties with San Antonio, who want to support the Brahmas, and they're having difficulty doing that. And that should be easy breezy in this day and age of technology.
For sure. Yeah, there's no reason you should have to hunt and search and try to find the replay of the game that you may have missed because you were, I don't know, at the hospital at the birth of your grandchild or something like that.
Hello.
There shouldn't be, it shouldn't be that hard. So I'm at the hospital. Caleb was born on Friday, but Saturday we're up there, and I just wanted to turn on the games. My daughter is not watching, and Caleb needs to watch football. He's a football fan, so he needs to watch football. And so I turn on the TV there in the hospital. No Fox. I cannot find Fox Network, not Fox Sports. I actually found Fox Sports. They were playing They were showing NASCAR, what used to be the Busch Grand National Series. I could not find Fox.
No Fox.
At a hospital in Houston, there was no Fox on TV. I had to pull it up on my iPad to watch what I wanted to watch. Come on.
Come on, people.
Ben, I mean, you gave me a grandson and all that. Thank you for that. But Fox, get you football. I need grandson and football. I need both of these things.
Major national network.
Yeah.
And then yesterday we celebrated Leo's birthday.
Right. It was Leo's birthday yesterday. The Gunslingers did not come through for Leo on his birthday. We'll talk about all that in just a minute. Let's wrap up Brahmas talk now. San Antonio plays Memphis on Saturday. Saturday is a full day of football for San Antonio professional football fans, as the Brahmas go to Memphis and they play at 11 a.m.
Central Time.
Yeah, 11 a.m. Central Time on ESPN. So that's one of the good ones. That's at ESPN. Did anybody end up listening to anybody that's listening or with us right now? Did anybody else end up listening to the radio broadcast? Was it a dedicated radio broadcast, or was it just the replay of the TV broadcast on audio? Let me know about that.
Yeah.
I'm curious, and I didn't get a chance to do that. I don't have Sirius. I'll sign up for a free trial at some point here in the next week or so that I can hear it, but I don't pay for Sirius Radio. I just sign up for free trials when I'm available for them.
You know your secret now.
Sirius XM Radio, this is a tangent. Sirius XM Radio has one big, huge problem in the way they do business. They broadcast music and talk radio in a lower bit rate than they need to try to get it out there quicker. And so the audio quality is crap on Sirius, both in your car and on the app. It is terrible. And so I won't pay for it because it's bad. Sirius, you want my money? You can have it. You got to start broadcasting in CD quality or better. And you don't. And you know you don't. Fix it.
So there.
We're solving all the problems. All the problems.
on this show tonight.
Right?
Yep. It looks like we have a comment there from Jackie Martinez.
Hey, Jackie.
We got
Jackie.
a group. Yeah. Welcome. Looks like they got a group heading up to the game in Memphis, so we will be represented up there by a group of friends and the Horns Forward podcast being up there. They're heading up on Friday. That's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Represent.
Enjoy that game. Represent. The Horns Forward podcast is great. Go give them a listen. Go hang out with them. Go like their page right now. While we're on a quick break, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to shift gears and we're going to start talking about the San Antonio Gunslingers.
And I'm going to do a set change.
Oh, are you? A set change and everything. We will be right back right after this quick break. Do not go anywhere. We will be with you in just a moment. Smoking Guns Podcast. Stick with us. Smoking Guns Podcast, Philip Higginbotham, Leo Yamas, RC Woods, talking football with you. We covered all the Brahmas stuff. We went through all of that. Now it's time to Brahmas win 27-12. Excellent weekend for football. I was so excited. I was like, we're going to go 2-0. We're going to go 2-0. We're going to get both wins. This is going to be such an exciting weekend in football and San Antonio professional football. Last night, the San Antonio Gunslingers head off to San Diego, and in one of the best, most exciting arena football games, indoor football games I've seen in a long, long time.
Oh, yeah. Definitely the best game of the season in the IFL so far.
They lose 69-61 to San Diego, a team that had already gotten all of their first game of the season yips out. They had already played Duke City. Even notched a win in that game in Duke City, out in Albuquerque. It just wasn't in the cards. There are concerns. I am not going to blow smoke at anybody. Jay Washington says game of the season so far. It was the most exciting. If I were to step back and look at the IFL as a unbiased person, I would say that's the best game all season. I didn't feel that way watching the game. I still don't really feel that way about the game right now.
Yeah.
But if I were just a random IFL fan, yes, game of the season.
It was a good game.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But
still disappointing.
We got issues.
Very disappointing. What happened to the 30 points?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Coach Manas. 30, maybe 40, maybe 50-point win. Instead, it was a 2-point loss. It was more than that. It was an 8-point loss, but it's a 2-point loss.
I did talk to Coach Manas at last weekend at the
branded
part at the party that they had for the season ticket holders. And when I mentioned the 30 plus, he said, I got everybody fooled. Like he just kind of chuckled and said, I've got everybody fooled if people are believing that we're going to win by that much. So he was showing some, cautious optimism, backstepping a little bit on his 30 plus, saying that, his coach speak, getting everybody pumped up, but, at the same time, fooling us into believing his statement. So there was that. So we can't really hold him to the fire, even though publicly he did say that. So we can hold him to the fire a little bit on that, Coach.
A little bit. We can do a little bit.
Yep. He did also mention to me, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying, because I didn't say anything till now. Now it's after the fact. So it's not me spilling the tea or anything or saying anything that was maybe said in confidentiality. But he mentioned that he was going to come out and run the ball to kind of get the defense, looking at the run and get the guys settled down. And then he was going to hit them hard with the pass and just light them up with the throwing offense. That kind of happened, but I think it took a little bit longer than I expected, maybe to get into the throwing. And then, Sam Castronova, God bless him. I mean, he was
or as his jersey says, Sam Castronova, not Castronova. It's an A instead of an O on his jersey for some reason.
Castronova.
Castronova. That's not how he spells it. At least that's not my understanding of how he spells it.
They were interesting a lot.
May need to fix that.
So he didn't light it up through the air as much as we had seen in the past in the NAL, but with his legs, I mean, he was a running quarterback a lot of times there, and a big part of the run game. He led the team in rushing, and even had a score, I believe, on the ground. So, his numbers were good, but they weren't where we expected.
Let's talk the good news first. Here's the good news, San Antonio Gunslingers fans. If you needed the good news, here's the good news.
Yeah.
We made the transition to the IFL with one other team. There was another team that came with us from the NAL over to the IFL. It's the Jacksonville Sharks. They were the champions of the NAL last year.
The Guppies, yeah.
They have played 2 games, not just one.
Mm-hmm.
Combined their score with those 2 games, the champions of the NAL last year, 54 points. Your Gunslingers have outscored them in 1 game in what they've been able to put together in 2 games.
Yep.
If you need to be more lifted up after this loss, and what's the good news, Philip? The good news is also that only one team in the IFL all season long has outscored the San Antonio Gunslingers. Every other team has scored less than 61 points, except the San Diego Strike Force last night with their 69 points. That's the only team that has outscored the Gunslingers all season long. That's good news.
It is good news.
Yeah, no, the Gunslingers came out and they made a statement offensively in their first game in the IFL, coming in their very first game in this league, and to score that many points. I mean, yeah, there's something to be said for that and something to be very proud of. Like I said, it wasn't in the way that we imagined them scoring those points,
right?
But they scored the points, and that's what matters. It doesn't matter how they're getting into the end zone, just that they're getting into the end zone, and that many times. There's a lot to be said for that, for sure.
Offensively, man, I would like to see a little. It's indoor football, so I know you don't get a ton of this. I'd like to see a little more protection for Sam Castronova.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want that guy to have to scramble out of the pocket and get the yards with his feet near as much as I saw him have to do. He can do it, but what happens if he gets injured? I don't want to think about that. Nobody wants to think about that. Let's protect him and give him a little more time, not another second or two of time, which is one of those early season things. You actually play somebody that's actually trying to get to your quarterback, and you go, now I know what they're going to try to do. I'm not super worried about the offensive line, but I sure would have liked to have seen a little better play about the offensive line. I am seriously concerned. Well, now we'll transition to the things, we do joys and concerns every Sunday in church. What are you joyful about? What are you concerned about? I'll tell you, there's something I am majorly concerned about, Leo and RC, and that is this defensive secondary. What the what?
I know.
Yeah. That was
9 touchdowns from Nate Davis. 9 passing.
He had a career night. Yep.
He had an excellent night. Too bad.
And most of them
the wrong team.
They weren't great throws that he was fitting into tight windows or anything either. Yikes.
That's what makes it so frustrating, I guess is a word, as a fan to watch. Irritating for sure, is that it wasn't so much great plays from the offense as it was just really poor play and miscommunication from the defense, from the secondary. There were just like missed assignments.
There was like no coverage there.
Wide open plays, big plays. They scored on big plays. Some of them were on, third and fourth and long. And just you saw some of the guys after the play just like looking at each other, like they were expecting people to be in different spots than where they were, and just kind of confounded with each other. And that was the disappointing side right there to see. And they'll fix it. I still have faith. I know they will. I believe in Coach Manas. I believe in this Gunslingers team, and I think that's going to be fixed. But that was a disappointing piece, is that you couldn't help but see that and feel that defensively, especially in the secondary, they were not necessarily as prepared as they should have been for this game.
They weren't as crisp as they should have been. You know what I mean? They were just like 2 steps behind, just a little short, one stride short. They were just missing it by seconds, but those seconds count.
Jordan Stubing says, fun fact about Castronova's misspelled name. We found out days before the game that the uniform sets we had ordered months ago were not completed, were not made. The uniform the team played in was put together in 3 days.
Wow.
Due to that chaos, some things were lost in translation. It will be corrected by Saturday for that home opener against the NAS Wranglers, the Northern Arizona Wranglers, as they come to Freeman Coliseum. We had no doubt it would be fixed. It was just interesting to pop on and see that back nameplate and go, I don't think that's right. But to be fair, I had to Google it to make sure it wasn't right, because I was like, maybe I've been spelling it wrong. I've been known to spell some things wrong from time to time, every so often. My daughters, when they were in school, would say, Dad, how do you spell? And I'm like, you get as close as you can and you right click under the red line under it. If that doesn't get you there, don't ask me. That's how I spell everything. Jordan says, no one more horrified than me. I wouldn't say I was horrified. I was just like, I don't know if that's right or not. I had to Google it. I had to look it up. So
yeah, early season jitters and a few hiccups, including with the uniforms. Apparently, I'm touching on that uniform. I want to say one thing: when we always give credit where it's due, and we always give love. For the first time, all apologies to the designer, which we know that Jordan designs most everything. I don't know if he was responsible for this at all or not, but when it comes to the helmets. And we had a comment earlier about the new with the barbed wire design and the chrome. Very cool, very different, nice looking on the helmet. The one thing, and I'm nitpicking here, but the one thing I really miss is, and again, looking at the previous helmet right over there, that way, I'm going to miss the blue face guard, the blue face mask, because they were white. And I was like, I was wondering if that was a permanent thing or not. And apparently it's permanent for the foreseeable future. And I really enjoyed those blue face guards on the white helmets. So I'm sad to see those go, but that's okay. That's okay. As long as we get stuff fixed on the field, that's definitely what's more important.
The barbed wire stripe. The barbed wire stripe down the middle of the helmet was sweet. I saw that about a day before. I think the helmet got leaked somewhere, and I saw that, and I was like, oh, that looks really cool. But I was busy. We were in the hospital. There was a whole bunch going on. I was busy. And then when I sat down to watch the game last night and they popped up, I was like, oh, yeah, that's really cool. I really like that.
Like the helmets.
Very impressive. I think the gunslinger face is also chrome. And so
yeah, I think you're right.
It kind of gets lost a little bit in the rest, but it's a recognizable logo. You can see it. It just kind of feels like his face may get lost a little bit in it. And I'll be honest with you, Leo, I hadn't even noticed the face mask color change. I loved the ice white top to bottom. I'm not a big fan of white helmets, but if you're going to do it, your road uniform needs to be white all the way through, top to bottom. It's a very good look. For a traveling football team. I'm a fan. Obviously, I'm a fan of just about anything Jordan does. I would say anything.
Absolutely.
I don't think he's ever done anything where I was like, no, I don't like that. So yeah, I've been a fan of anything Jordan does, and I was a fan of the uniforms, even with them being put together last minute because of some uniform processing problems wherever we order our uniforms from. And we know you guys will fix little things like names and some of that kind of stuff. I'm not worried about it.
No doubt.
And if you're just going to be throwing away those that have misprinted names or whatever, I got space on my wall that I'll hang a jersey on. You just let me know. If you're just going to throw them in the trash, I can turn it around so that the Gunslingers shows and not the Castronova part. I can do that. I'm good. Not what we wanted to see, but folks, if you thought they were going to go 14-0 this season and just waltz through a brand new league, you weren't paying attention. You weren't paying attention to anything. Yeah, the coach was confident. He should be. The coach wanted to win. The coach was planning on winning. I want that. That's what I want. At the end of the day, you could almost watch this game in a vacuum and go, which one of these teams has already had a game under their belt? Which one's brand new? And you could have told me, or anybody could have told me, watch the game and said, hey, they've got a couple of things they need to work on. San Diego seems to be clicking a little better. There were times we just weren't clicking, and that'll come.
Yeah, just shake the rust off. This is their first game. I tell you one thing that we saw and we're hopeful to see and was great to see was Kali Rashad making plays and being out there. That made me happy,
Man,
for sure.
Every time I see a player, I think I've even mentioned this on the show, every time I see a player hurdle another player, I am reminded of Major League where Willie Mays Hayes makes that basket catch over his shoulder, just this little basket catch, and he comes back to the dugout because it's the third out, and Lou Brown, his coach, goes, "Great play. Don't ever do it again." That's how I feel every time I see a player hurdle another player. I'm like, that looks awesome. Don't ever do that again. You're going to get hurt like that.
Keep your feet on the ground.
Yeah, keep them feet on the ground. You're going to get hurt like that. But it was a cool moment. There's a great picture that somebody took of that that's circulating out there. That's very cool. And there's lots to be excited about. Second best score in a game. You're outscoring teams that have played multiple weeks. This is good news. This is a good place to start. You lost your first game on the road. You were already dealing with a couple of negatives in your corner. You're on the road. It's your first game. It's not their first game. It's their place. All of those things.
It was their time to get the wiggles out.
Jay Washington says, I don't know what the play of the game was between Rashad's hurdle and that 2-point conversion. So let's talk about that 2-point conversion for a second, Leo. You know what I saw? I saw a team that did not panic and a team that had thought this through beforehand. Because if you go back and watch that play very carefully, as soon as the snap is low, Sam starts floating back, and T.C. Stevens turns immediately as soon as he possesses the ball, turns and finds Sam and delivers the ball to him. This is a team that had thought through what happens if everything goes sideways on us in this moment. They already had a plan. Sam moved where he needed to be. TC got the ball to the playmaker that could make something happen. And that's how that came to be, is because they were prepped for that. That's good coaching. That is good coaching. The way that all worked out. It is not just something that happened by accident. That is something they were prepared for. Go back and watch it again. Everybody is doing their job when the poop hits the fan. They're doing what they're supposed to do.
Well, I will say, I know San Diego had seen film because they were scared of Kali. Rarely they did not want to kick that ball to him.
And when they did, he made them pay.
That's right.
Yes. Talking about special teams, it was definitely part of their game plan to keep the ball away from Kali Rashad. And you know, that's just smart coaching on the San Diego side. I was speaking more on special teams. Not for lack of trying, but I was surprised we didn't see any deuces in this game with those kickers
I was
and with
surprised.
TC Stevens. And even the broadcaster said they were nailing deuces in the pregame warm-ups. But, you know, kicking in a game is different than warm-ups. But since this is kind of a kickoff and there's not pressure when you're kicking, you figure it's pretty close to practice, and not a single deuce in this game. That was really surprising, and this certainly would have helped if we could have gotten.
It would have helped. I'm hoping to see if he does that bow and arrow move that he did last season against us all the time.
That was
oh yeah, I know what you're, but that wasn't TC. That was
TC Stevens.
Yeah, that was the guy that was over in West Texas.
Yeah,
trying to think of his name, but yeah, different guy.
Different guy. Not that guy. Different guy.
Still good kicker though.
Yes, still good kicker.
Absolutely. There you go, Jay Washington with the save. That was Didio Weber, Kevin Didio Weber.
Thank you, Jay.
That is correct. That is a good memory right there. I'm getting old. I'm a grandpa now. I'm getting old. I can't remember things like I used to last week. So overall, there's good things going on here. And most of you probably saw the coach put out a statement earlier today on Facebook where he took ownership and said, hey, we got things we were going to improve on and we're going to improve. We're going to get better. We're going to give San Antonio something to be proud of. Stick with us.
I believe
no doubt in my mind that that's true.
Yeah.
True.
No doubt in my mind. We weren't going to win them all. We wanted to. You always want to. We weren't going to win them all.
It would have been nice to win that first one, especially for those of us San Antonio football fans that have been around since the AAF days, and there's still that kind of a sense of rivalry with the city of San Diego.
Yes,
that was born back then. At least for me, that's still there in my heart. So,
Missions Highlighter says, "Got the loss out of the way." Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got to get one, you got it out of the way. You know you can be beaten, so maybe you prepare a different way. All the things that we always try to justify these with. I'm saying them all now. That's true. That's absolutely true. Let's take another quick break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the watch party and then look ahead to the home opener, which is coming in just a few days. There's not much turnaround here. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk about, we'll start with the watch party and then we'll move on. Smoke Guns Podcast. Stick with us. We'll be right back right after this. Smoking Guns Podcast, Philip Higginbotham, Leo Yamas, RC Woods. Did you miss us? We weren't gone that long. Most of you stuck with us that are with us live. So San Antonio doesn't pull out the win, but a lot of you gathered together at Main Event West and joined together for the watch party. I didn't get a chance to drive out there. I really did think about it. But it is a 3.5-hour drive from where I am to get to Main Event West.
It's a little bit far.
And I just couldn't justify it. With a 3-day-old in the house and some of that kind of stuff, I couldn't justify being gone the whole day just to watch a game on TV when I could watch the game on TV at home.
Fair enough.
Different situation on Saturday where we're going in person and I'm calling the game. So that's a completely different situation. Tell me about the watch party. How did it go?
I thought it was great. It was a good turnout. We had good food. What I especially liked was we had our own special room. So we didn't have anyone like trying to borrow seats or anything like that, or getting dirty looks because we're being too loud, because we were loud. I'll tell you that. Yeah. So I really appreciated that. It was good parking, right? It was very easy access. Service, I think maybe they didn't anticipate as many people, because we could have done better with maybe 1 or 2 extra servers, to be honest. But we were doing good. We're doing good. A lot of new faces. I know we had some new season ticket holders, and those are the parents of one of the 6 shooters. So now that we have 19 six-shooters, those are 19 different pairs of parents that are going to be coming to see the game. I can tell you that.
Missions Highlighter in the comments says Leo got a new lid. You're both wearing some new gear. I wanted to talk about the hat. The hat looks good, Leo. That's one of Jordan's creations. I'm loving it. And RC wearing her Smoking Guns broadcast.
Can I turn around to show the back?
You should. Yeah, absolutely. Her Smoking Guns podcast fan jersey. We see your hair. We see lots of your hair.
You got to move the hair.
RC Woods right across the back there. Leo, you've got yours. Some of our patrons and those folks that ordered them beforehand have gotten a hold of theirs. If you're one of those folks and you have not received them, get in touch with us and we will get those to you. If you didn't order one or you're not one of our patrons, we have a small inventory of extras that we ordered. Reach out to us at smokinggunspod@gmail.com. That's smoking no G, guns with a Z, POD @gmail.com. Let me know that you want one and what size, and we'll try to make that happen for $45.
Gunslingers over here. Brahmas over here.
It's got both of our teams on it, both of the teams we cover. Very interesting on the back. We've talked about this when we ordered them, but on the back, you'll notice that the 2 is the Brahmas, the 4 is the Gunslingers. That's because it's 2024.
Yep.
And this is the second year of the San Antonio Brahmas, the 4th year of the San Antonio Gunslingers. We thought about all of that before we had Jordan come up with this. We planned every bit of that. That was not just a happy accident that somebody pointed out when we released the design. That was thought of, planned. Orson Welles planning, Citizen Kane kind of planning going on from us. Not just accidental. Looking good, RC. I like the fan jersey. I can't wait to get my hands on mine because I know it's out there somewhere. It exists.
Yep.
Very nice. I love it.
Looking good. How many would you say were at the watch party? How many showed up?
I'd say it was somewhere around 20, 25, 30, somewhere in there. Yeah, 25.
And they have a new Fiesta medal too. I didn't catch one, but I'm
yes.
On Saturday.
Loli's bought 2. She got I guess one his and hers medal.
Nice.
I didn't get a chance to look at them. I was away. I gotta say thank you to our patron James Palmer, who has his jersey and actually took a picture and posted it on Facebook to show it off. He took me over to the bar and gave me a shot for my birthday.
Nice.
So bought me a shot. So we did a shot together at halftime. And that's when Dolores went over there. Lily, she went over there and bought the medal. So we did get a couple, but I haven't had a chance to take a close look at those. But yeah, about 25 people there. There was merch for sale, the medals for sale. Jordan was there. April was there. They were running the show and did a great job with that. I mean, the broadcast came across really great on 2 TVs. 2 big TVs, one on each side of the big room. The sound and that, like RC said earlier, it was nice to have our own designated indoor section where you could actually hear the broadcast and hear the game. There was a sound system in there for the broadcast that was just for us. So we're able to hear and cheer, and we wore loud, definitely as if we were at the game, cheering and cowbells. We had cowbells going, and I forgot my cowbell. Lili's was like, "You forgot to take your cowbell." Yes. So it was a great time. And we did. Sign. Yes, you did. You had the sign there. So we had a little color representation there on the wall, and then what's his name? Rick Vela. He's the Gunslinger Bandit. The Gunslinger Bandit.
The Gunslinger Bandit.
Yeah, and he was there leading the cheers, and he had an awesome wrestling belt that had the big Gunslingers logo in the middle. Go check out the pictures. RC took some pictures and posted them. and you could see that belt there. The fans were taking pictures with him and with the belt. That was a big hit, but he was there leading cheers after scores, and taking pictures with people that wanted to take pictures with the Gunslinger Bandit. I was saying earlier, Jordan and April, even with the interruption that we had because of the storm that hit, if you were in San Antonio, you're very familiar with what I'm talking about, because it was short, but it was lethal. It was like really, really concentrated rain and some hail in different parts. I heard, including at the watch party,
Scared
where
the Jesus out of me. As soon as those lights went off, I was out the door.
The entire building lost power. We were on reserve power, so obviously the broadcast stopped. So the fans all pulled out their phones, and we were watching part of the early third quarter. It was on our phones while they were working on getting that broadcast back up. And Jordan, April, and the manager there got that thing up using a laptop. And at first they were just connecting the laptop directly with via HDMI cable and going off the signal off the laptop. Power came back, was restored, and they just got the regular broadcast back up. And even with the interruption, it was a great production and very well done. So kudos to those guys for, doing that, especially with the adversity of the power outage.
Well, and let me tip my hat right now to the San Diego Strike Force organization. The game looked great. The venue
awesome.
looked great. The broadcast was top notch. We've seen some already in the IFL. Massachusetts, we're looking at you. We've seen some issues. I don't like, I get that it's an indoor thing, it's an arena thing. I don't like weird colored turf. Turf needs to be green. I'm an old man, I'm a grandpa. Get off my lawn. But I just need football to be played on a football kind of turf. I don't need crazy weird colors, Massachusetts, and I need a decent broadcast. Again, Massachusetts. San Diego did a great job. Their field looked great. Their venue looked great. They had a decent, solid crowd for a Monday night game, as far as I'm concerned.
I like the logo.
The logo looked great. Bay Area, I heard you, Phil. All right, well, go ahead. Michael Wayne Davis says broadcast was awesome. It absolutely was.
Lois didn't like their uniforms. The San Diego uniforms.
I love them.
I thought they were cool, but she didn't like them. I was a few drinks in, so I didn't argue with her.
I think they're game ball, because every team gets to put together their own version of the game ball. I think the San Diego Strike Force game ball needs to be camouflage.
Oh, that would be cool. I don't know if that. I don't know how that would work play wise, but
But still, I mean, hey, let's give it a try. No, broadcast was excellent. The game was good. I would have liked to have seen it in differently. It is what it is. We took a loss. We get together and we try to put things back in line for the next game. The next game is coming
right around the corner.
Yeah,
right now. Like right now, you got to start getting ready for it right now. Not just the team, the fans have to start getting ready for it right now, because it is this Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Time in Freeman Coliseum. The Northern Arizona Wranglers, those dastardly thieving Northern Arizona Wranglers that stole a particular logo, a particular cowboy off a logo.
Yes.
And tried to take it for their own. Not the San Antonio Gunslinger logo. That's not the cowboy they stole.
No.
If you look at the NAS logo and our logo.
Look at that right there. Look that right there. Look at it. That right there. That corner. Yeah.
That's our logo. That's our cowboy. What are you doing? What are you doing still? No, but they come to Freeman Coliseum, the first home game of the season. Broadcast will be brought to you by Texas Sports Productions, with Ralph Judkins on the play-by-play and Philip Higginbotham on the commentary on the analyst. You don't need to watch that. Don't watch that game on there. Watch that game in the building, the Xerox Bowl. I like it.
Yeah. Very clever,
You're going
Jay.
to see some new things. You're going to see a new field. You're going to see a brand new field for your San Antonio Gunslingers. You are going to see brand new uniforms up close and in person. You're going to have opportunities to take home brand new merch like the hat Leo's wearing, the pink. Did they have the pink jersey ready?
Yes,
Yes.
I have one.
Watch party?
Yep. Loli's had that on for the watch party.
That will be available to you. It's time. It's time to get in the building and get ready for your San Antonio Gunslingers to right the ship and go 1-1. Now, you may not have been paying attention. I don't know how you've been consuming IFL football, you, the San Antonio Gunslinger fan out there. Well, the NAS regulars, the Northern Arizona regulars, are 1-1.
Yep.
They started their season off with a loss to a very pedestrian-looking Arizona Rattlers team, in my opinion. And then they had a win over the Tucson Sugar Skulls. But what I find interesting about those games, Leo and RC, is that they were both in the Toyota Center in Prescott Valley. They have not gone on the road yet. Their first opportunity in a hostile crowd is in the most hostile of crowds.
They should be scared.
And I thought what you were going to say to add to that was that the score on both of those games was pretty low. Wasn't it in the 20s?
Oh, no. That was they won their game 54-48 over Tucson. They lost their game 51-40.
Okay.
So they're putting up some okay score. It's no 61 points.
No 61.
Right.
But,
Well, all I know is if I had to play my first road game of the season, I wouldn't want to be playing it at Freeman Coliseum. If I'm not from San Antonio. They're in for
San Antonio
something.
checking in. What's up, masked man? You gonna be out at Freeman Coliseum at 6 o'clock?
Thank you for showing up.
This is their first opportunity to play on the road. And that means you get to affect the game. Those of you watching, those of you listening, you get to play a part in this game. You get to be a part of this first win for the San Antonio Gunslingers in the Indoor Football League. It's good. It's a good thing they didn't win last night, because now we all get to experience live and in person the first IFL win of the Senate. April Stubing says the first 2,000 fans into the building get a free cowbell. It's gonna be loud.
Oh, I love it. I love a cowbell.
Nice. I'm definitely bringing my cowbell. So let's get loud, San Antonio.
Let's get loud, San Antonio. Guns up.
We need more cowbell.
We need
always
more cowbell.
Need more cowbell. Masked Man of San Antonio says the Gunslinger Bandit will be there and get the crowd going for Saturday. I'm excited. I think we're all excited. The Alamo Dome, the experience that the Brahmas games is unique. There's nothing like it.
No,
that can also be said for Freeman Coliseum and San Antonio Gunslingers games. There is nothing like it. Do not miss out on this. Do not go. But I love listening to Phil. I love the sound of Phil's voice. So I'm going to stay home and watch the broadcast on my 58-inch TV and not drive over to the Freeman Coliseum, because I want to hear Phil. I'm not that big a deal. I know a lot of people think I'm a big deal. I'm not that big a deal. And you need to go to Freeman Coliseum.
He needs a bigger hat now.
Be in person. Kevin Lewis mentioning that it is a whiteout.
Yes.
Do that. Wear your white.
Does that mean white from top to bottom, or just white shirts?
Yes.
At least white shirts, but
okay.
If you want to go full white top to bottom, then sure, why not?
All right. I got white shoes too.
Jay
I really wanted to wear the pink and black one, but I'll change my wardrobe and do a whiteout.
Jay Washington says, I hope to hear I have a fever and the only prescription is more cowbell. I have a feeling that will be queued up and ready to play in Freeman Coliseum as we move through this first game. It's going to be a great time.
Yep.
There's going to be a ton of people there.
We're going to be there.
I've seen Jay Washington's giant cowbell that he has, and I just have to say, speaking of fevers or headaches, the people sitting right in front of them are going to have a headache unless they take some sort of cotton or something to put in their ears. You got to protect their ears because that thing is loud. So bring it. Let's go, Jay.
Northern Arizona is a good football team. You're going to see your San Antonio Gunslingers take on one of the better teams in their conference. Again, now they're riding middle of the pack right now when it comes to the Western Conference. They're 1-1. They are technically in fourth place. I don't think that matters. It's too early to really start looking at that. However, that's where they are. They're a solid football team. They have a returner and receiver that reminds me a little bit of Kali Rashad. He is electric. He is an electric kind of receiver. I can't think of his name right now. I might be able to dig around and find it on their roster, but they have that same sort of electric guy that's going to give some fits to
and I think we're going to have a new announcer, a new female announcer. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder whatever happened with that. You're right.
Yeah, I remember they posted they were looking for one, so I don't know if they found one or not, but if they did, then this would definitely be the game.
I applied
to introduce her.
Jay Washington says, does anyone know anything about pregame or when the doors open? Somebody does. And some of those people that are part of the Gunslingers organization are watching and hanging out with us right now, so they will let us know here in just a minute. April Stubing says, another fun fact, we changed it to a whiteout night because of the uniform situation. But as always, we have overcome that hurdle and we'll have new uniforms for Saturday. So we'll be saving whiteout until later in the season as originally planned. That's why we're doing the cowbell giveaway instead. So no whiteout. Don't worry about whiteout this time.
No whiteout.
Save that for next time.
Back to the black and pink jersey.
Black to the pink. There we go. I'm wearing a pink
no
hat.
whiteout this time. They were worried they only had one set of uniforms. So there you go.
We're golden now.
Good news. We're going to take one more quick break. And then when we come back, we've got a brand new segment. It's Leo's idea. And so he's going to take the lead and run us through our new segment. What's the new segment called, Leo?
Well, we can spell it, but we can't say it because we want to keep a family show. But we're going to call this, it's kind of a thumbs up, thumbs down type of idea for the week. We're going to take one thing of the week that really we didn't like and one thing that we thought was great. And we're going to call it I won't say the full word. Bullspit. There you go. Bullspit or bullseye. And that's going to be our new segment from moving forward. We'll have that next.
So we'll be back with bullspit or bullseye right to close out the show. Let us know what you loved and what you could do without. What was bullspit and what was a bullseye for you this weekend between the San Antonio Brahmas and the San Antonio Gunslingers game? Let us know right there in the comments. We'll be back in just a second. Smoking Guns Podcast. Stick with us. We're coming right back. Smoking Guns Podcast, Philip Higginbotham, Leo Yamas, RC Woods, wrapping things up here on a late Tuesday night after we watched our San Antonio Brahmas absolutely dominate the DC Defenders 27-12 over them.
Yep.
And as we watched the San Antonio Gunslingers open their season with a valiant effort, more points than any other team in the IFL except the San Diego Strike Force on the same night as they dropped to 0-1 after a 61-69, 61-63 loss to the Strike Force. It's been a fun weekend. It was a great weekend, but now we get to go around the room and say, hey, well, this is what I loved, and this is what I hope I never see again. We're calling it Bullspit, or the other word, if you want to throw that out there. But Bullspit or Bullseye, Bullspit and Bullseye. Let's start with you, Leo. This is your thing, so I'm sure you've wrapped this up. You've got an idea of what was your Bullspit, what was your Bullseye of the weekend?
Well, my Bullspit, unfortunately, was giving up as you say, we'll say 63 points. Because that last was given up on a fluke, just trying desperation to make something happen. So the team actually only gave up 63 points. So giving up 63 points and the way that it was given up through the air like that, we talked about it already. To me, that was the Bullspit of the week. Very disappointing. Really kind of, it was a very somber mood as people were leaving the watch party. We had a great time up until the very end there. It was all elated when we take the lead and excited and everyone on edge and nervous. And then, we messed up again. That was on a questionable kick that we think should have been kicked a little bit higher and a little bit less to keep from the short field. But giving up the 63 points, that's my Bullspit of the week. I don't want to see that next week. Let's get past that. That's my Bullspit. Now, Bullseye, I have to say, the aggressive offense of A.J. Smith and the San Antonio Brahmas, loved seeing it, was lots of fun. I mean, we had the trick plays, the play where we had, what was his name? The wide receiver trying to throw the ball early in the game. And then we had, of course, the ice kick and going from Brad Wing to Millette for the big touchdown. Just outstanding play calling and an exciting offense. It's great to see something we didn't see all of last year. That's my Bullseye of week one. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more of that this coming season.
RC, what about you? Bullspit, Bullseye, what do you got?
Okay, so the Bullspit, I would say that whole incident at the Brahmas game with the DC defender spitting, that is so uncalled for. That needs to end. I mean, like, that is not called for. This is not about football. I don't want to see that ever again. I didn't like that at all. And then my Bullseye would be the unity that we did have during tailgating. I mean, even though it was a short 2 hours, we made the best of those 2 hours. So that would be my Bullseye. And I'm looking definitely forward to more tailgating, hanging out with the family. Did we call that the family? And getting to know more people. So we welcome the new super fan, Brahmadama, and any other super fans who want to come out there. So that'd be it. Can't wait. And you, Philip?
Not me yet. I'm going to go around and tell you what some of these other folks. Mo Ferrante says Bullspit, routing people into Lot C and being funneled into a dead end. Had to move the gates to get out. No room for U-turns. Some parking issues at the Alamo Dome. Her Bullseye, by the way, love that Brahmas offense.
Yeah.
Agreed. It was really, really good. Jay Washington says his Bullspit would be 11 a.m. Sunday games, especially on a holiday, man.
Yeah.
Bullseye, the Gunslingers adapting to the IFL rules quickly. Not a lot of penalties, not a lot of issues, not a lot of problems, and that's something to be said. Last man of San Antonio, the game last night was Bullspit. There was a holding call that they missed on the Strike Force. Gunslingers won, but the defense didn't show up. So that did it. One holding call didn't change the game necessarily. It was a close game, but
But I think they scored on that play where they missed the holding call. So it was a touchdown.
Understand what they threw the flag on that final touchdown that San Diego scored, where they called us for. They would have called us for a illegal twist. I've watched it several times, and I'm not sure what they see. I'm no official,
Add that to the bull spit.
Oh, man, yeah. Michael Wayne Davis, bull spit. The UFL needs better merch and jerseys for sale online. Sure,
I agree.
they'll get there.
No argument there.
Time. Let them build that up. Missions Highlighter, Bullseye, Gunslingers games are still live, free, and available on YouTube. That is fun. That is nice that you can let people know what they're going to see. They can get a chance to watch it beforehand. So lots of fans checking in with Bullspit and Bullseye. You guys kind of took mine, which is always a chance that may happen when you go last. Bullspit was just, man, our defensive secondary, the Gunslingers defensive secondary has got to get better. It's one thing to get beat by a quarterback and get beat by some receivers that are playing really, really well. It is another thing to leave them wide open in the middle of the field. And that's what we saw. I know it's going to get better, but I got to be honest. The one thing I think about this weekend where I was like, ew, that was awful. Be our defensive secondary for the Gunslingers. My Bullseye, man, that Brahmas team, top to bottom, beginning to end, really took control of the game. They made they put the UFL on notice. They put everybody in the UFL on notice that, like, whatever you think you know about the Brahmas from last year is not the Brahmas that you're getting this year. It is different. It is better. And we got the right Houston team, because there were two Houston teams and one of them got shipped over and became the Brahmas. We got the right one.
We got the right one.
That's right.
Jay Washington, Bullseye, Gunslingers, and Freeman on Saturday. Yeah.
Yes.
Math Man also agreeing with that. Bullseye for me as football is back, and right now just enjoying the season off the Brahmas and Gunslingers. Horn forward and guns up. Absolutely. Very, very exciting stuff. Watch out on Saturday night when you're in Freeman Coliseum for NAS Wranglers, the Northern Arizona's Wranglers, number 7. Arcea.
Did we ever get an answer when the doors open?
Yes, we did. We did get that answer. Abe Earl says doors open at 4:30. Pregame starts at 5:30. As far as the pregame on-field activities at 5:30, and then the game starts at 6:05. So yes, we did get that information. There you go.
I know many of you were wondering if I'm still going to be in the truck doing the shirt toss. I asked Jordan, and I will.
You know what? That is actually that is the question that we've gotten most often from everybody around the Smoking Guns podcast and Smoking Guns posse is, wait, we're not worried about the UFL or Wade Phillips or any of this. Is RC going to be in the truck this year?
Is she going to throw me a shirt? Yes, that's right.
I'm working on it.
Lots of folks watch out for number 7, Arcea McCorker. He is electric. He is their returner and their receiver. He has 3 receiving touchdowns already this year and 2 kick returns for touchdowns. Watch out for that dude, number 7. Key in on that guy.
So you say watch out for 7, but you know what? The Gunslingers ain't where we understand that, but don't worry, because we got 5 on it.
We do. We've got 5 on it. I noticed you were wearing your Kali Rashad fan jersey last night at the.
I was.
I love it. I love it.
Very proudly. Yep. Too bad we didn't get the dub, though. God.
Right.
We're this close. This close.
For sure.
Next week.
Michael Wade Davis says Mr. Jordan Stubing needs a Gatlin t-shirt gun, full automatic, like 8 barrels.
Michael needs to say Hammy every time they kick the ball, and he knows what I'm talking about.
I can just picture Jordan with a Gatling gun t-shirt cannon, and then I'm picturing that the movie. What movie was it with the water cannon and the kids lined up in front of it with the mouth open, and he shoots the water cannon, the kid goes flying off the screen. I can just see that in the stands with kids, like, just shirts launching, and they're just launching right back down the corridor. There's a movie. I can't remember what movie it was, but
Bad
it's a
News
water
Bears or
cannon.
something?
You know what? I think I'm showing my age here. I think this is a really old movie. The more I think about it, called UHF with Weird Al Yankovic.
Weird Al Yankovic's
yes,
movie. I know what you're
I
talking
believe
about.
that's where that's from.
Mass Man of San Antonio, Rashad was a total freak of nature last night. My boy could barely be stopped. He's going to be doing that all season long. Believe me. We are the Smoking Guns Podcast. We are a podcast that deals with football in San Antonio, professional football in San Antonio. That includes the San Antonio Gunslingers of the Indoor Football League and the San Antonio Brahmas of the United Football League. We are brought to you by some amazing folks that are part of our Patreon crew. Folks like Texas Pete, Alfred Rodriguez, who's been hanging out with us tonight under the guise of Mission Highlighter. James Palmer, Jay Washington, who's been talking to us all night long. Jordan Stubing and James Stubing, Kim and Greg Nelson, Mo and Iris Ferrante, all of them. Just absolutely spectacular folks that help us make this show go. If you want to be on that list, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/smokinggunspod. That's smoking no G, guns with a Z, P-O-D, and you can be a part of our Patreon crew. When special stuff pops up, when we know secret information, the first people we tell, that's our patrons. When we have something special like a awesome looking fan jersey that is created for our show, we gifted those to everyone on our patron list that was active at that time. So is there going to be something every week that you get? No. But is there going to be something special that comes out of being a Patreon of the Smoking Guns Podcast? Absolutely. $5, $10, or $20 a month, you can be a part of our Patreon crew, like those wonderful people I just listed off. Go to patreon.com/smokinggunspod. Smoking no G, guns with a Z, P-O-D. If you want to get in touch with the show on social media, you can go to Smoking Guns Pod on any of those social media outlets. Facebook, Instagram. We have an Instagram. I don't think we use it very often. Facebook, Instagram, X. Facebook
Network
is where we... Yeah.
Yep. Catch us on the Fuel Network.
Facebook is where we're most often at. We are Smoking Guns Pod on all of those social media networks. YouTube. You can find us on YouTube at Smoking Guns Pod. Smoking no G, guns with a Z, P-O-D. We are a part of the Fuel Network. Fuel Network is a fan united experience legion. That's the word we use. Legion. It is a fan network built by fans for fans, and they've got all kinds of sports coverage. Go check them out. You can download their app on your Roku TV or your Fire Stick TV, and you can go watch Fuel with the Smoking Guns Podcast and a bunch of other great shows too. B-Hawk Live, X-Fans Live. What else is on there? The Bottom Line is on there.
Bottom Line.
Lots of great content there.
We're going to start a female one, Amanda and I.
Yep.
Excellent.
Jersey.
I did not know that. That's very cool. Jersey the King is on there. Lots of great stuff going on. Go be a part of that. That is all that I have. Get your tickets. Get your tickets for Saturday night. If you haven't done that yet, shame on you.
I do not want attendance at Freeman Coliseum to be on my bull spit for next week.
Oh, for sure.
That better not be.
Nope, no, absolutely not. That needs to be a bullseye, not a bull spit.
Yep.
Well, with all that being said, when it comes to professional football in San Antonio, when it comes to professional football anywhere, whether it's in San Diego or Memphis or, all the way up in, Green Bay, down in Jacksonville, we've got times we're going to be all the way over in Arizona, or when Arizona comes to us, when northern Arizona, those nice, gentle rolling hills of Prescott Valley, when those guys come down to see us, they're going to find out that when it comes to professional football, the 210 has got something to say.
Bang, bang.
All right. Thank you so much to those of you that are hanging out with us. You've noticed a little bit new format. We are going to try to to stick to that format and stay with that format throughout. The show will be taking breaks. There is a possibility that we may start adding some quick commercial moments into that. It's just the way it goes. It's the way things work, and we wanted to be a part of something bigger with the Fuel Network, and one of the things they asked us to do was be a little more segmented in the way we did the show, but it kind of keeps us on track. We stayed on track a little better. We moved through the weekend. We got everything handled in kind of, I mean, we're right at 2 hours right now. We're never under 2 hours when you let me just go. So we did a lot better job on time, and that's what they're asking for. Mo already jumping in, says, love the new format. Thanks. And Leo's great idea of bullspit and bullseye. He's been holding on to that for a while, but we decided to finally throw that in. We'll come up with some sort of graphic. I need a graphic for that. So Jay Washington said, love the 6-shooter show, RC, by the way. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Make sure you check in with us on social media and follow us on social media, because you never know. We're going to pop up with a 6-shooter show or a mom to mom or some of that kind of stuff. And as always, download the show tomorrow. Even if you stuck with us all the way through the show tonight, just give us a download tomorrow on the podcatcher of your choice. I prefer Spotify, but whatever. And like us, subscribe to us, rate us, review us everywhere you can. It really does help. It helps us get the show out to everybody. Yeah. If you have friends, tell them about us. That's if you don't have friends, go make friends. That's most important thing you can do right now.
Come to the games and you'll make friends.
We'll be your friends.
We'll be your friends.
3 friends.
Absolutely enjoyed doing the show tonight. Sorry we got a late start. That won't happen again, or won't happen very often. Mission Highlighter says, will 6-shooter Mom to Mom be loaded on the Apple Podcast? I'd like to re-listen to those shows at work the next day. Yeah. It'll be done later this week. I've got some other stuff I have to take care of too, but we will try to get those out in the special editions later this week. We'll drop them sometime so that y'all can see that. All right, folks, thank you so much for hanging out with us and spending time with us, and we will see you all, every one of you, all of you, on Saturday. Guns up and horns forward. We'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.